Adam Gilchrist, what was it like keeping to Warne?
Oh, Leigh, it was the highlight of my cricketing career, simple as that. Forget the runs or I suppose the team victories were amazing, but to wicket keep to Shane Warne, Ian Healy and I pretty much exclusively had the best seat in the house to watch a maestro at work. It all started at the top of his bowling mark. It probably started actually as soon as he took his hat off and the crowd knew that he was about to come on to bowl, give the hat to the umpire, get to the top of the mark. And then the theatrics, it was almost like a film director, a Spielberg type person there, just pulling the strings and setting everything up and building it up to the moment where inevitably he usually got his prey. But it was just an amazing angle, and as I say, a really close and personal part of my cricketing journey was that keeper-bowler relationship with Shane.
Watching those theatrics, were you able to, as the person at the other end of the pitch, read what he was going to do, or was it as much of a surprise to you sometimes as it was to the batsman?
He wasn't the hardest bowler to actually pick out of the hand for the non-cricketers out there, to know what was coming once the ball was delivered. But he had a few tricks. He always spoke about mystery balls coming, but there's a big difference between picking it out of the hand and then being in the right position to take it, because he did have variations of each delivery, and then you throw in a bit of natural variation off the pitch, and it just made it so much fun. It was you just felt like you were in the game every single ball that he bowled. So I could pick him. I remember going to Warne really early when I first came in. I knew the standard that Ian Healy had set in partnership with Shane, and I aspired just to try to get somewhere up near that standard. So I asked him to bowl at practice, after practice, and bowl extra overs, and we all know Warnie's desire to train extra after training. It wasn't all that existent, but he did it, and he showed me, and we built up a really nice familiarity. And as I say, it's a wonderful memory to have been on that part of the journey in partnership with him.
What do you remember about the way that he could unnerve batsmen?
The psychology was extraordinary. I mean, Warnie was physically an extraordinary specimen. I mean, we know that his fitness wasn't his greatest part of his regime, but he was so strong, and his endurance was unbelievable to bowl the spells that he did. But really, I think a lot of the wickets came from the mindset and the psychology. And as I said, at the top of his mark, the batter knew they were just being preyed upon and engaged in with him, and whether it was the eyes, whether it was body movements and time. I guess they say time stands still for nobody, but Warne seemed to have a way, a bit like Sachin Tendulkar with the bat. Warne seemed to slow it down. It seemed like he could slow the clock down and play it at his pace. And then that theatre of all the crowd around with him, it was just extraordinary. It was just like live theatre being played out, and that psychology for the batter was immense. It was often too much.
Why do you think Shane Warne has such a unique place in Australian culture? He definitely exists in this kind of pantheon of Australian legends that not even every other great sporting figure always gets into. He's got quite a unique spot.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's just the intrigue of Shane Warne. I realised just how big this was after what felt like a ton of bricks hit us all initially at the news. Turning the phone on and getting messages from guys like Steve Harmison, who played for England in that 2005 famous Ashes series, and then a flood of messages from around the cricketing world and then personal world and entertainment world, everyone wanting to let us know, and me and our teammates know, how much they know we'd be hurting and how much they loved him. The intrigue of Shane, he was just a club cricketer. At the end of the day, we're all club cricketers. Some are better than others. Some get to go on to higher honours. But Warne was just doing everything that a club cricketer on a Saturday afternoon would do, playing with his mates, and then maybe at night going out having a good time. Warne just forgot that he was the best ever at that chosen art and that the whole world was watching. So there was just this intrigue, and I think we all knew we were on this amazingly special journey with him. We all knew he was greatness, and just a step above the rest of us, even way back when we were playing it all out. And of course, the legend will continue to grow, as it should, but and his personal life was everywhere. I think everyone, he was so public. We all feel like we've lost someone, a friend or someone that we sort of knew. And I guess all that personal life that was so public, I remember once at the height of a lot of the dramas around he and Simone, and I don't confess to being on the inner of how their relationship played out, but I remember in England walking out of a team hotel at one point, and I looked down an alleyway next to the team hotel, and Simone and he were sitting there just basically playing handball with each other with a tennis ball up against the wall, and I think they were just really, really good mates as well. And maybe Warnie forgot the other parts of the relationship, but I don't know, he knew how to form strong mateship and friendship, and it might have taken a while to get in. There was times where he and I locked horns a little bit, but gee, the respect was there, and then it just grew and grew and grew, and by the end of our careers together, and to think the last 4 years broadcasting with him, to think to next summer, I already feel like there's a big hole there, and I can't believe in my broadcasting that I've been very fortunate to do that. He's not going to be sitting on my left at the panel opening up every day of Test cricket. When did you last speak to Shane? I spoke to Shane about a week ago. I received a really nice text from him, probably, I'm assuming, about 8 hours before he passed away. He was just sending me a message, and he was one of the few guys that consistently called me Church, after a nickname that probably those in the inner sanctum only knew about being confused by a young English fan, and they called me Eric Gilchrist. He always called me Churchy, and that felt like a term of endearment from a friend, but he messaged me, just said, Church, wonderful tribute to Rod Marsh, which I was very honoured to do a voiceover, and you know, we were just coming to terms, we were not even close to coming to terms with the passing of my childhood hero in Rod Marsh and another legend of the cricket world, and Warnie just messaged me to say well done on that. So yeah, that was the last contact. It's a text message I'll never delete. It's been good to have you on the show. I wish it was in different circumstances, and we really appreciate you coming on to speak, because I know it's not an easy thing to do. So Adam Gilchrist, thank you very much. A pleasure, Leigh, and I know I would never wanted to miss this interview when the request came in. I know Shane had the interview with you about 4 years ago, and I believe it's going to be aired again. And I know he was unsure about leading into that interview, how it would go, where it would go, given how respected a journalist you are in the program, and he's had so many of these different tabloidy interviews. He was unsure, maybe a bit nervous, but I spoke with him after it, and he couldn't have been more pleased with. He just felt like that you got him. You just worked out and realised who he was. He really enjoyed it. Well, it was definitely a career highlight for me, so thank you very much. Thanks. Hi, I'm Leigh Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.